The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is a game that was released back in 2017 alongside the Nintendo Switch system. It is a game widely known as both fans of the Zelda franchise, who have been waiting for the next title since 2011's Skyward Sword, and many more non-fans of the series came to enjoy it for years on end following its release. I've always been keen towards the game, getting my Nintendo Switch Lite back in 2020. However, I hadn't ever bought the game until now, probably because I was too obsessed with the Pokemon franchise, which has been pretty trash lately. Very recently, I have gratefully borrowed the game from my sibling in order to experience what an amazing game I've heard Breath of the Wild is. I will go over aspects of the game through memory in my playthrough and some more. As always, I will give you the option to click off the video if you would like to avoid spoilers of the game's story. However, the story of the game isn't deep beyond the memories you have the option to collect. This is because the game emphasizes a lot on exploration of the Kingdom of Hyrule, which I believe still to this day is the largest open world map on a first-party Nintendo franchise. Speaking of which, I'll first talk about Hyrule is divided into multiple uniquely landscaped areas with different climates, temperatures, and societies. Like how in Mario games you start in an upbeat grassland setting, in this game you also start in a grassy area. The harder areas like Death Mountain, filled with many more challenges, are able to be traveled to at any time, but are pushed further back in the map, expected to go to later since there are many locations in between. Every unique section of the map has its own gimmick of challenges. Hebra has extremely cold weather, Eldin is the exact opposite, being extremely hot, the Gerudo Desert can be both hot and cold, and Central Hyrule basically just has a lot of guardians. There are 4 main groups that live among the Hylians in Hyrule, who are humans: the Zora, the Rito, the Gorons, and the Gerudo, who are basically a female-only tribe living in the Gerudo Desert. Speaking of groups, we have When you visit every civilization, you are greeted by the chiefs, who are usually older or in some cases younger. Alongside are the people I like to call the younger champions, who team up with you to try to get inside to take control of the divine beasts, who wreak havoc on the land. What I like about them is their flaws that are overcome by the end of their missions. At the beginning of the Eldin questline, Yunobo is a very scared guy. Through Link's actions, he becomes more confident and helpful to blast down Varudania. Characters like King Rome, Robbie, and Impa guide you to help you uncover not only the past of Hyrule, but Link's past as well. Their contributions to the lore makes it very important to visit every one of them. Finally, you have Zelda. While at the start of the game, Link is confused why some princess is begging him to come save her. Through memories, she becomes the most important character. "100 years prior to when the game takes place, Link becomes the appointed knight towards Princess Zelda, the daughter of King Rome Bosphoramus Hyrule. Yeah, that's his name. Alongside Link, 4 champions were chosen to pilot the Divine Beasts, large weapons of mass destruction created by the ancient Sheikah civilization. These champions were Rivali of the Rito, Urbosa of the Gerudo, Mipha of the Zora, and Daruk of the Goron. With Calamity Ganon, the evil reincarnation of Ganondorf's evil goo called Malice, soon to return, King Rome orders Zelda to awaken a sacred power within her that would be capable of banishing the evil. She constantly tries and tries but fails into a moment when the calamity returns, where Link is about to be energy blasted by a guardian, where her love for him shows and awakens the power. Unfortunately for Link, he falls into a power nap lasting 100 years. The game starts where he wakes up. For a game on the Nintendo Switch, it is one of the most beautiful. From the moment you walk up to that ledge on the Great Plateau, you see how grand and appealing the world really is. My favorite Pokemon game, Pokemon Legends Arceus, has one really huge flaw: its graphics. After playing Breath of the Wild, I imagine how much better and fitting the art style would be in Arceus over how it looks right now. It really is a masterpiece. The game provides multiple unique ways of traversal as well as in combat. I'll start with weapons. Item durability in the game is awful. You get a Boko Club after defeating a Bokoblin and encounter another one? There it goes. Runes in this game, which are basically a set of Sheikah abilities, aren't really that bad. You have an infinite supply of bombs, a magnet to move some objects, the ability to stop motion, and a weird ice block that can be placed on water. Getting from place to place in Hyrule if you can't teleport is rough in the game. There's basically 3 options: running, climbing, and horseback. When you sprint or climb, Link's stamina bar depletes, and it depletes fast. Luckily, you can upgrade it once you beat enough shrines, which are basically the game's main puzzle areas. The game feels very tricky until you have decked out gear and weapons, but it does help extend playtime. Unlike most games, there isn't a post-game. This is because once you defeat Calamity Ganon, you load back to your last save like nothing happened. It makes you feel like you don't even need to go to beat the game until you have nothing else to do, which is a great way the developers help the player experience as much as Hyrule as possible. People, including myself, are often unsatisfied with quitting a game until it's beaten, so good job, Nintendo. In terms of what happens in the ending, it isn't much. Link and Zelda sort of work together to finish off the calamity, and now Hyrule is more or less at peace. Until Tears of the Kingdom. Even though I haven't yet actually played Tears of the Kingdom, the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild that came out last year, I can say with certainty that Breath of the Wild is a must-buy game. If you don't want to play for the story, play for the experience, or vice versa. Thanks for watching. Now what do I play?